When I say this poo come out, it shot out all across, it skimmed his head.
Welcome to Parents You've Got This, We've Got You, the new podcast for brand new parents from Tommee Tippee. I'm Jerilee Isabella, a new mum in the thick of it, just like you. Each week I'm joined by a guest star and a parenting professional, and together we share real stories and expert advice to get you through pregnancy, the newborn days and early parenthood. Let's share the highs, the lows, everything in between, no fluff, zero judgment, just real talk. You've got this and we've got you. Today, we're asking the questions many sleep-deprived parents ask. Is baby brain real? Why the fog happens? And understanding that huge shift that is becoming a parent. Most importantly, we chat about how the brain changes and how it can actually be your superpower. Today, we're joined by singer, Sunday Times bestseller, queen of roast potatoes, and mum to Landon, Megan McKenna. I'm right in saying that this is your first ever podcast?
I don't really do podcasts, but this is my first one talking about Landon and motherhood.
Landon just turned 1 the other day, right?
Yeah.
How was his first birthday?
So good. I threw him a massive party, and then we spent his actual birthday opening all the gifts that he got, and it was just crazy.
I bet he was so excited.
Yeah, he's just such a happy little baby. It's so cute.
Oh, I can't wait to find more about him. And helping us learn all about those changes to the brain when you become a parent is mum and clinical psychotherapist Jerilee Claydon. Thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to pick your brain because your job must be so fascinating. What are your interests and your work as a therapist?
Well, I used to work with individuals, and then the influx of anxiety that was coming in made me want to work with children. And then when I was working with children as young as 5 who were anxious, I was like, where are they getting this anxiety from? So then I started working with pregnancy and then seeing actually around pregnancy and birth and the couple. So that's now my focus.
Oh, well, I think we're going to have a great chat today, girls. Megan, I want to go all the way back to the beginning of when you became a mum. You documented and you were quite vocal about your fertility journey. And I bet that was probably really difficult at the time for you, but maybe like a little bit therapeutic as well, because there was a lot of people going through that. So can you just take us back to that time and that journey and what it was like from fertility to conception, your pregnancy, and then what your birth was like with Landon as well?
Well, when me and Ollie decided, let's have a baby, I just knew something wasn't right. You know, you just know. It had been about 5 months, and I thought, do you know what? Let's just go and get checked, because I know, you know, you can try for years. Some people try for years. And I always wanted to freeze my eggs. And then when I was with Ollie, I was like looking into it, and I said, should we actually freeze our embryos? Because there's like more of a chance of them, the survival rate or something, when I was looking into it. So we wanted to go anyway, and we had the checks and stuff, and everything was fine. But then it come back that my womb lining was thin. It was kind of working, but then it wasn't strong enough to kind of sit there. You know, I just had to do loads of just treatment, just the injections and stuff. Obviously, it's not very nice doing the injections, but you kind of just get used to it. And I found a really good hack. Okay. With the injections, you get an ice cube, literally numb that section just before you put the needle in, and you can't even feel it. Like literally can't even feel a needle going in. When I went through that process, it wasn't as smooth sailing as we thought it would be. I then got OHSS, which is over hyperstimulation of your ovaries, which can be very, very painful.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I was hospitalised for a week with it, and I was like, oh my God.
Oh my.
Obviously, this is happening to me. So it kind of put the pregnancy journey on hold for another couple of months, because I had to wait till everything calmed down. And then we got quite a lot of embryos that kind of worked, and then there was like enough to have a football team. And then it got to like the 4th day of like the thawing process, and like only 2 survived.
Oh, that's tough.
Out of like 18. And I was like, obviously it's really hard, because I was thinking, I don't want to have to go through this all again. I kind of wanted a football team there, because I could have like loads of kids. But you know what? We've got 2 amazing, one is on ice, the baby number 2, somewhere down the line. And one was Landon.
Oh, wow.
That's
It
joy.
worked.
Yeah,
First time.
it worked.
Oh, and that must have been so overwhelming to have gone through all of that and then to finally know, okay, conception, we're here.
Yeah. To go through, I mean, I didn't want to lift a shopping bag. I was literally ringing my mum like, Mum, I've done this. I felt something. She was like, Megan, you're going to be fine. Like, calm down. And obviously, you're like really worrying when you have it, you know, injected in you. I got to watch it on the screen. It was so fascinating to see it go in.
That's brilliant to have it on the screen there. Oh, shh, everyone, my show is on. It's literally you getting your embryo put in.
Literally, you see it go in, and I had this thing called embryo glue, and it stuck London right in there. Then obviously I decided lastminute.com, do you know what? I'm going to have the baby in Germany.
Okay, yeah, because we'll get into this.
Yeah.
Your now husband had to move with work, and I'm sure that must have been a lot. So did that happen while you were pregnant?
Yeah.
We'll just fling that in the mix.
Yeah, we just thought, sod it, let's move to a different country.
Yeah.
I was literally like out here.
Oh, you were heavily pregnant?
I was really heavily pregnant.
Yeah. How was your pregnancy health-wise?
It was, do you know what? It was actually fine, but I suffered really bad with my teeth.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
I chipped my tooth the other night because my wee baby's 4.5 months. You can't really see that much. I've got fake teeth and it chipped, and I was like, great, this is my reward. My teeth are now crumbling.
No.
But I think that's something you don't really realise, is that your teeth health matter because they're drawing so much calcium from you. So yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it really affected me. Like I had to keep having root canals, and I was stressing because I was pregnant and obviously laying in the chair and I could feel Landon moving around, and it wasn't very nice having that. I was worried about the antibiotics I was taking. Honestly, there was just so many stresses. I was like, I just don't want to be taking any tablets. I just want to get on with it. And then I was in pain. You can't take Nurofen. I was like, oh, what am I going to do? That was the only stressful part about pregnancy for me. Apart from that, I loved being pregnant. I loved the bump. I loved feeling him. He was always was pushing his hands up, like really out of my tummy.
Yeah.
I was originally meant to be having Landon here in the UK.
Yeah.
And then Ollie moved to a German team. Then I just decided, this is too much. I need to be with Ollie when I have Landon. And I really wanted my mum to be there as well. So I was like, how am I going to do this? So we decided, let's have a C-section. We can plan it. So when I went into the German hospital, nobody really spoke English.
Okay.
The lactational, is that how you say it?
Lactation, yeah.
She spoke very good English, and she would be my translator.
Okay.
So I had her by my side. And then when I went into the theatre, the main guy doing it did speak English, like staggered English.
Okay.
But it was really scary. Like they're all speaking German. You don't really know what they're saying.
Yeah.
And you're like lying on the operating table.
And it's
thinking,
already a scary moment because it's like the fear of the unknown. You don't really know what's happening. And then obviously you're in a different country that's like a different healthcare system. Did you notice a difference with their healthcare versus
It was amazing.
NHS? Was it?
It was amazing.
So that gave you a wee bit of peace of mind then, like you were in safe hands for all you can understand what they were saying. You trusted them.
Yeah, and I got my doctor here who was going to look after me here to email them all my bits and bobs over, so they were like aware of everything and what I wanted and stuff. My mum come and obviously stayed with me for them first few days. Then my sister come out, and then Ollie's mum come out. They alternated it, but it was just a really hard time for me being in another country when my mum's not around the corner to be like, can you just come around for an hour and watch Landon while I just sleep, like while I make something. You know, it's like with a baby, it's like of everything. And
it takes a village, and your village was back in England, so that's
Literally.
tough. How are you splitting your time now? Are you still in Germany, or are you back in the UK?
I'm back and forth all the time.
Okay.
But we've just got a UK home now, which makes things a lot easier for me. So when I travel, it's like I'm just traveling. I'm leaving everything here. Everything's in Germany. So we have two homes.
Okay, so that's easier.
Yeah.
So today's subject of the podcast is baby brain. Did you feel like you had baby brain through your pregnancy as a mum? Do you still feel like you have it now?
I have it now. Like, it's annoying. And I always say to my mum, like, when is my brain going to come back? Because it's taken over my life.
I can tell you
perfect.
never.
I was just about to say,
comes back.
and Jerry, when does that happen?
Oh,
but
no.
what actually is baby brain? Because it is like a scientific fact. I joke about it and I say like, oh, I'm scientifically stupid now. But I'm pretty sure you have like a nicer way to say that, because it is a scientific thing.
Yeah, well, do you know, it doesn't exist in the way you're describing it. So whenever a female has thought that she's lost her cognition or can't think as clearly, and they've done research to test them, all these different cognitive tests, they've never had a decline. So it's never been a decline of the brain. It's a reorganisation of the brain that gives you a superpower to take care of your baby, but it doesn't actually impair you. What they found is that we have been so influenced by culture and the story around it that we believe we are deficit.
We dismiss it, don't we? And we do something silly and we're like, oh, baby brain.
They did a research and they said, tell us some of the key words around what you think of a pregnant woman. It was useless, ditzy. It was a lot. It was so horrible.
Give me a list of the people that took part in that now.
It was so unkind. And actually, when the female brain is reorganised, it gives you a superpower that you would never have had otherwise.
Yeah.
So when they've done all these studies on baby rats, they say it's as ethical as it can possibly be. But say, for instance, a virgin rat, a rat who hasn't had children, is placed in water and it's got to get to land. And then they put a mummy rat in the water. It's off. It finds the land the fastest. If it's ever got to rescue its pup, they were dropping their little baby pups down a tube and the mum had to rescue it. The researcher gave up before the mummy rat did because she did it over 680 times. The persistence in her, the virgin rats, it's well boring. Off they go. They don't hear the cries in the same way. They don't respond in the same way. So like a virgin rat would prioritise themselves and water. The mummy rat would ignore everything. She would totally ignore everything to just get to her pup.
That is fascinating.
And that only that happens in pregnancy. It primes you. So in pregnancy, there's a massive change in the brain, which is it's an organisation that happens forever. But how it's reinforced after pregnancy, when you start caring. So when you were probably caring for Landon, you're reinforcing it. It becomes a loop system. So the more you do it, the more rewarded you are. The more good, it feels great. So then you do it more and then your brain is more activated. So because of the activation and because of this loop system of how you're caring for him, you're not undoing it, you're just reinforcing it. Because you're so tired and because there's so many things you're thinking about,
Do you think that's why
you feel the way you do.
Okay.
But that's not to do with the organisation of the brain. You've just got too much going on.
And what are some of the positive changes then that we can take away from that?
You solve things quicker, you have better memory. So you're leaving the house, like where did I put my car keys? Then Landon starts to cry and you say, that was the cry I did 2 nights ago, something's wrong. There's a slight change in his skin colour. Your husband might go, no, he's all right. And someone else, no, something's wrong. And you'll see it. You'll know it before anyone else even sees it.
Yeah, you do.
That's the superpower that you end up having. And so one of the predictions they say, if you can mentalise your child, if you can know what your child's thinking. So say like when they get a bit bigger, because you've got little ones. Have you both got boys?
I've got a wee girl
A
called
girl.
Winnie.
Okay, Winnie. So little girl. So when they're older, and say for instance, they come and kick that water over, and so that's really naughty. Why have they done that? But you go, oh no, it's because they're really embarrassed. There's a lot of people in the room, or they're just feeling a bit anxious. When you see beyond the behaviour and you can mentalise what's going on for them, if you can hold that space for them, they say that's the best predictor for a positive child outcome. So if you want to have a healthy, resilient child in the future for adulthood, that mentalisation of seeing inside their world. So to do that, you need to know about your own world and be regulated so you can see inside theirs. That starts in pregnancy, and that's some of the hormonal changes that are occurring when it happens.
So you mentioned studies on rats. Has there been any studies on the human brain of what baby brain actually is?
Yes, so they've studied women for cognition. One of the interesting things actually that came out of some of the research is that when there has been slight impairment, out of like say a test of 11, there may have been like 2 that came back, like 2 of the tests that maybe they didn't quite remember as well. And that tends to be for women carrying females, baby girls, rather than boys. Maybe, there's the superpower, but actually it's because you get a bit of testosterone. So I thought men are going to love that because actually when you've got a little bit of the male testosterone in you, it helps you with your cognition. But the studies have been so slight and so small, but the media jumped on it. The headlines were all these clickbait headlines, fogginess in women, your brain deteriorates. And yet they were tiny little slivers. And there's been so many studies that have looked to try and prove about this fogginess, and it's come to nothing. So then they don't get published, they just get pushed to one side. So it's not even a true thing. And the reason it all came about in terms of the studying, there was 3 women, neuroscientists, off in Madrid to go and have a night out. And then, as you do when you're a neuroscientist, decided to go back to the lab to chat about studying pregnant women instead. So they never made it to their celebration because one of them was pregnant. And they started to talk about all these studies of pregnancy. And they said, well, there must be some. And then they couldn't think of any. So then they went back to the lab, started looking into it. So they were the first to end up scanning women before they got pregnant and after they got pregnant. And then they saw the changes. They've never seen changes like it. So transformative. They've studied autism, schizophrenia, OCD. But in the pregnancy, there was 100% change in the females. They were like, we've just discovered that. They won prizes for it. It's like massive.
Yeah, scientific breakthrough from a girl's night out.
It was probably only published in 24, I think. Neuroscientist who got pregnant. Because of the ethics around it, you can't scan pregnant women. She's a neuroscientist. She said, I'm going to scan myself. She gave herself 26 scans to watch how the brain was changing. Kept putting herself in the machine.
Wow.
I mean, make the most of it at work.
Absolutely.
Every 5 minutes.
Wow.
So she just kept scanning herself. And so what they knew about their first load of the tests were, yes, there's changes. So it's like, yes, there's the architecture. Her scan showed, what lights were on, basically, what's happening when, what parts lighting up. And so we've got white matter in the brain and grey matter, literally like this grey pinkish matter. And that's all linked to our thinking and our feeling and our regulation. So all of that they noticed was being pruned back. So literally bits missing, getting smaller, which is what you're feeling. So it is pruned back, but then it gets reorganized to make it this hypersensitive, super aware of your environment, new transition in the brain. When you're feeling a little bit out of sorts, what you're almost describing is something called matrescence, because you've got biological changes, sociological changes, emotional changes, your identity. That is what can also make you feel out of sorts, because you're transformed into something new. So you've got what they formed was baby brain. Yes, there are changes, but matrescence is the whole thing, including like the spirituality of it, and that can just make you feel disorientated.
Yeah. This is the first time I've ever heard baby brain spoke about positively, though. Megan, the positive sides of baby brain before, can you relate to that? If you had any moments where you're like, do you know what, my brain's actually a bit sharper, like I'm working a bit more efficient since you had Landon?
In some things, like as in, I don't know if this is like the same as this, but like, I mean, I can literally smell when he's done a poo like a mile away.
That's it.
Yeah, like, and everyone goes, I can't smell anything. I'm like,
That's exactly it.
he's done a poo.
You're literally a sniffer dog. You're like,
he's done a poo, and then they're like, no, he definitely hasn't. I'm like, hold on a minute, and he's like, poo in there.
Yeah.
So that
your
for
smell.
me is like a power, like no
it's like
one
your
else can
spidey
smell it.
senses, but for poo. Yeah.
I can hear him if he makes one
it.
bit of noise. I know it's him. I know when things aren't right. I know, and like
In your
someone
body.
else, you just know. I know what sort of moan he's making. I know when he's thirsty.
Yep.
Like I just know. I'm like, oh, he's thirsty, and I don't know. It's obviously you're in.
And somebody else wouldn't. He
No.
might just be going,
Yeah, and I know straight away.
Yep, I know what he needs.
But then I forget and lose everything. So what's going on?
because it's not important. What's more
Yeah,
important? To
that's
remember
so
where
true.
your car is and car keys,
Yeah.
and then go, oh, what did I do with the baby?
It's so true.
You
It's
don't need to
so
remember
annoying.
that stuff.
It's getting to a point now where it's ridiculous. And I'm frustrated with myself because
Right,
I'm like,
okay.
I will think, where have I put them keys? Where? I'm going through everything, and they'll be in the most stupid. I would have put them somewhere ridiculous. And then I never used to do that before.
Yeah. So those like frustrations and then almost like anxieties as well, can that be influenced by baby brain? Like what's going on with our bodies, like if we are frustrated or like anxious?
Yeah.
When you become super, like that hypervigilance for your baby, like he needs water, you can also pick up on other people in the same way. So you are more susceptible to anxiety and depression as a result, because you're so sensitive to facial cues. So someone might walk in the room ordinarily and you just look, oh they're looking at me, something's going on, and you become a bit paranoid. So then your anxiety can ramp up. So because of that, you are quite vulnerable, which is why they say it takes a village. Got a good support system around you. If you're well rested, you're getting enough sleep, all you're doing is caring for the baby, it works. We do it on our own now, and we don't have the resources. It doesn't work for us. We're under so much strain. And so because of that, the lack of sleep, the lack of support, you're parenting 24/7, all the responsibilities, all the mental load that you're carrying, that's what impairs you. Women's brains aren't broken. Society is. It doesn't work for us.
Yeah, it's stacked against us. Yeah, I think that's so accurate. It isn't, the society isn't like built for mums anymore, so that does make it more difficult. Megan, you were quite public about your anxieties through pregnancy. How did that manifest? Like, how did that look for you day to day when you were pregnant? And like, do you feel as if you still kind of have that now that Landon's here and he is a bit bigger?
Do you know what? I'd say my anxiety got more when I had Landon.
Right.
I would always remember, because the sun would be coming down and it would be 4 or 5. And I would feel so stressed, anxiety, sinking feeling. I felt like, what is going on?
The witching hours. You even said like the blue baby, like
Baby blues.
Yeah.
And I really would get it. Only at that, it's really weird.
Your cortisol's dropping off.
Yeah.
I think also as well,
Weird.
it's because you know you're going into the night thinking, what is this night? Because every
What's gonna
night's so
come?
different. What is this night going to come? Because you're most definitely sleep deprived because you haven't slept the night before, and you're like, oh my god, this is doom and gloom. And it's when the sun sets, you're like, what is going to happen?
It was a horrible feeling, and it's so weird because like it's the best thing that's ever happened to you, but you just I couldn't shift it. Nothing got rid of it. And that only went, I'd say, maybe when Landon got 6-7 months, I'd say it started to shift a bit. I don't get it now, but I'd say that was probably like the worst part, apart from actually he had reflux.
That's tough. Yeah, when he had that as well.
They put it under, they was like, it's colic, reflux, and I was like, that is not what you want to hear.
No, it's tough because they can't lie on their back and sleep, so then you can't sleep either.
Honestly,
so yeah, it's
you have
testing.
to sit them up.
Yeah.
He was on medication for it for months and months and months.
Tough. I bet once he came out the side of that, like the other side of that, he was like a different wee baby.
He's the happiest baby.
Yeah,
and he loves his food.
But do you know what? Like, testament to your intuition and like your mum's gut, because you probably got panned off a little bit from doctors being like, it's fine, but I bet you kept going back and you were like, no, I know my baby and there's something wrong. So that's probably what you're saying, Jerry. That there's your baby brain.
Don't doubt that.
Yeah.
Don't ever doubt. Twice that's happened to me at the hospital with my own kids.
Really?
Oh, you're fine, go home. And you just know.
You just know,
like,
I know.
Going back.
And I was in Germany.
Oh, you see. That.
You know, it was hard for me. I couldn't fly home, I didn't have a passport for him.
Oh, well, of course, yeah, because he was born there. So does he have a dual passport?
No, he doesn't get one.
Oh, is that...
You have to be like living there for quite a while to get one,
okay.
So yeah, no, that was really tough because obviously where I'd be normally going to like my GP or like a doctor, I use, I was relying on going somewhere, and obviously they did speak, thank God, really good English there.
I mean, we go through so much when we have babies, so like there's no wonder that there is just such a huge shift, and then that brings anxieties, but it can also bring heightened senses, which I think is actually a good thing. And that leads us nicely into our Ask an Expert section. So we give our listeners the opportunity to send us a wee voice note in and ask our expert. So we've got Izzy from Hertfordshire, and she wants to know about heightened senses.
Hi, I just wanted to ask, why do I find that I always wake up in the night when my baby wakes up, but my partner is able to sleep through it and doesn't seem to wake up at all?
I'm sorry, that is the root of so many of mine and my husband's arguments.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you sleeping through that?
That is true.
The neighbours have woke up and you're literally 3 seconds away from her and you're not waking up. But that is a science thing as well, right?
Do you guys wake for your partner sleep?
My baby can sniff
time.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
what's doing?
Are your partners programmed to wake up yet? Or no, they just
No,
sleep
I mean,
through?
I think if my husband Andy was sat here, it would be like, yes, I do.
Yeah,
What are you talking about? And I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah, you
lying.
defo don't.
Yeah, they don't wake as much. So, and that you are wired for that in pregnancy, but then it becomes a learnt behaviour. So, do you know what? It's not necessarily a gender thing. Mm-hmm. It's more a carer thing.
Okay.
So the primary carer and secondary carer. So the primary carer is wired to take care of the baby. The secondary carer kind of knows that the primary carer's got it, so they switch off a bit. So even in same-sex couples, when I have 2 women or 2 men, I've noticed it's a primary carer thing, not a secondary carer.
Okay, that's interesting.
I thought when I read about this and we were getting another puppy and my husband wanted it, I thought, I'm not waking up for this dog. I've not stopped waking up for 10 years. And so I said, well, you know what? So I was really clear. I thought, I'm going to put this into practice to see if I can not wake up for cries.
You did your own clinical
Yeah,
trial.
I literally did. So I said, so you're going to wake up and I'm going to sleep through, okay? And he's like, yeah, whatever, thinking she'll wake up. Yeah. So I was like, so not my responsibility. Yeah, no problem. So I really detached when the puppy arrived and I didn't really get involved. So he did all the feeds, all the walks, and then he started to do the nights. He had to move into a separate room because he said, all I can hear is him crying downstairs. And I was like, I'm not hearing anything. I was like snoring in my back and he's going, can you hear him? Can you hear him? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, but that was your karma for you doing all
it does
getting
work.
up with
It
the baby.
literally does work. So if you don't want to be the one who wakes up, you really don't have to be.
Oh,
That's so interesting.
Very
That's so
interesting.
funny. Did you find that when Landon was first here that you were getting up more than what Ollie was?
Yeah, I mean, he got up he did hear a few times. I mean, Landon was screaming some nights, so he definitely would wake up. I would say, like, now, say if Landon was, like you said, literally all they've got to do is, and you wake up, like Ollie obviously wouldn't wake up, and if I've had a bad night, I'd be like, oh my God, like, did you not hear Landon in the night? And the majority of the time he'd be like, no, I didn't know he woke up that many times. But to be fair, because we travel a lot, Landon, at the moment, we've just moved into our new house. The nursery's not ready. He's actually in with me.
Oh, that's good.
Not in the bed, in the cot.
Yeah, but next to you.
So
But he could be in your bed.
do you know what? I don't want to do that.
Do you think it's a little bit of a slippery slope?
I've never done that.
Yeah.
Not saying it's not a bad thing if people want to do that, but for me, I like my time with Ollie. I feel like that would completely
Change
the dynamics of me and Ollie in bed. It didn't feel like it felt safe for me at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I worried about rolling over, squishing him. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like he's in his bed, he's safe. Nothing can happen to him in this little square.
Yep.
And I can sleep better like that. If he was in bed with me, I would not sleep,
Yeah.
honestly. But at the moment, he's in a travel cot, bless him. With a mattress though, a
I
real
was waiting for you to
mattress.
say something like really, some
No.
bougie, like
No,
brand
no,
there. I was like,
no.
what's she going to say?
No,
What's she
just
going
a
to say?
travel cot, but it's got like a proper mattress in it. So he's in the travel cot at the moment. So I'm waiting to do the nursery up, but bless him. So he is right next to me.
Yeah.
So he probably
But
likes
I'm
it.
so used to him being next to me now. I'm like,
You'll
him
miss
going
him.
in his own room. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
but he is one. So I'm like,
And
He should be in his own room.
No, he shouldn't.
Yeah.
He can stay. So babies
like
can stay
16
with
and
you.
you'll be like, come on, bedtime.
Yeah, children will stay with you until they're ready, and then they will say, "Can I go now?" But they, if you keep them next to you, it's a bit like having skin on skin. But there's just that proximity because they're close by. They get such comfort from you. Their little immune system's really relaxed. They sleep really well.
Really?
So even if they're just in the same room, I was really open to this because of the research. So in the end, I just put the mattress on the floor and got rid of my lovely big bed, and I had a single mattress next to me.
Yeah.
So there was my daughter, my son, me, my husband, and the dog.
Oh my God.
But all of a sudden, I remember laying in bed one night and my daughter said to me, she was nearly 8, and she said, "Mummy, could I go to my own room tomorrow night?" I was like,
your heart
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But because she went, my son was so used to her being next to him, he went with her. I lost both
double
of them.
homicide.
My husband came upstairs and said, "What are you doing?" I was at the end of the bunk bed because she was at the top, he was at the bottom, and I was holding his feet. I went, "I'm holding his feet. He won't sleep with me anymore." He was like, "Get out. What are you doing? Just leave them alone."
Yeah, but you know what? It
So
does
it's so
come to a point
sad.
where, like, if you are doing the bed sharing, I'll do like half of like Winnie in her cot for the first half of the night, and then I bring her in with me for the second half, because see, at 3 a.m, like, I'm just not doing sleep training. I can't be bothered. I'm tired. You're coming in bed with me. And I think in my head, like, I get what you're saying, that you like having that space for yourself. I think in my head, I'm just kind of like, there'll come a point where it will just naturally,
just
she'll
go.
stay in her cot a wee bit more, and then she'll eventually
it.
go into her
They
room.
just go.
But I get what you're saying, because she's coming up, she'll not quite yet, she's 4.5 months, but they say 6 months is when like they go into their own room, and I'm kind of like,
No, but that's really old fashioned. That's really
it? Right,
old
okay.
I
fashioned.
do think
It's
that's
really
a bit-
outdated.
for me,
Yeah.
because obviously I think as well why I feel like this, because I've spoke about this to my mum as well, like that I like it that Landon's with me at the moment, but obviously because of the travelling, moving houses all the time, I also worry about him being a little bit
Yeah, he's unsettled.
with the houses. So it works fine right now, but when he was turned 6 months, there was no way I was putting him in his own room. I didn't care
so
what
tiny.
people were saying. I was like, I want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I get it now, everyone's different. You
Yes,
want to
you've
just
got to do what
that's the
works
just
for
do
takeaway,
you.
like,
just do what you want to do.
do
at the
what
end
works
of
for
the day.
you and your family
Yeah.
and your baby.
Yeah.
You know best, like, what works for you.
But
and
6 months felt way too small. He
But
was
you
so
felt
teeny.
it. Do you know that feeling?
Yeah.
That's
And I was
because
in
you're
Germany. I thought
biologically
there's
wired.
no way he's going in another room in Germany on my own here.
No.
Yeah.
He's
we need
next to
mum.
me.
Yeah. No, most
But in his own
definitely.
crib, because otherwise I worry about squishing him. And then I won't be able to sleep the whole night then.
But that- and that's
You know
what's
what I
got to
mean?
work. Some women will sleep more if the baby's tucked inside,
Right,
around
okay,
them.
yeah,
and
yeah.
some sleep better if they're in the cot.
Okay, yeah.
So
he
it's-
sleeps good in a cot.
Yeah, so then that's perfect.
Yeah.
So you all get
So
the
it's
right
perfect.
rest.
You found what worked for you, and that's the takeaway. You just figure
Yeah.
out what works for you, your
Yeah,
baby,
and
and your
safely.
family.
If they are in the bed, there's safe ways of doing it. So as long as you do it safely, but otherwise whatever works. And at some point when Landon goes through a developmental leap, he's probably going to want to be in your bed for a bit. And if he does, he'll also go again. It won't be forever.
So you'll
'Cause
get that moment back,
They
probably.
it's not linear. Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
just like learn to sleep and then that's it. It's in those
Right.
first 3 years. I always say 3 summers. Think of it as 3 summers. Go with the flow for 3 summers, and you'll come out the other side okay. If you try and put too many restrictions around it, you just make a headache for everyone and yourself.
We've reached our no time to think quick fire round, Megan. So I'm just going to do some quick fire questions. 1 word answer, yes or no. And if you can't think of anything, you can just say pass. Okay, let's go. Landon's favourite food.
Bolognese.
Your favourite quick meal to cook.
My favourite meal to cook, quick noodles.
Most sung nursery rhyme.
Wind the bobbin up.
Wind the
It's a
bobbin
good
up.
hit.
Yeah.
It's a
good
classic. What's your favourite kids show?
Okay, my favourite one is definitely Miss Rachel, and I like the song I'm so happy. Yeah, jump.
What was Landon's first word?
That's a real hard one because he was making the noises mum, 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 mum. But then he started going dad, dad, dad. No.
Oh, go with mum.
We'll just go
Say
with
mama.
mama. Choose one. Text, voice notes, or FaceTimes.
FaceTime.
First thing you reach for in the morning, phone, water, or coffee.
Water.
Hydrate before you caffeinate. Pram or a sling for a walk.
God, that's a real hard one because I did love the sling. And he's a bit heavy for my sling now, but so it has to be pram or I've got bad back.
Yeah. And 3 a.m. snack, sweet or savoury.
Always savoury. Crisp and dip.
Gorgeous. So, Jerry, I've never heard that word before this podcast, matrescence. Can you explain what that actually is?
But yeah, you know what? Considering it's the thing that really captures what a woman goes through, you think we should all just know what this word is, and no one teaches it. So back in the 70s, an anthropologist, she came up with it, and then it just died on its arse, and nothing really happened with it. And then Dr. Athen, a professor at Columbia University, she revived it, and she said what used to take her weeks or months to teach her students, she was able to then do in a couple of sentences. So she said to them, just think of a child turning into a teenager, they go through adolescence. A woman becomes a mother, she goes through matrescence. So you're not going back. Think about a child becoming a teenager, how different they are. Their hair, the hormones, their behaviour, how they look, it's just transformative. So there's a few key periods in life when your brain becomes very plastic and changes and transforms. Early development, these first few years of life, adolescence, and then key moments that might come. But biologically, like, you know, deaths, bereavements, things like that. But the things that happen naturally is this early start and having a baby. You are feeling this. It's not like it's not real, but it's not in the negative sense that you're describing it. It's so much more complicated.
Yeah. Megan, do you, like, hearing that, what Jerry said there, does that give you almost some kind of like reassurance or like peace of mind that like those anxieties that you did go through pregnancy and even now with Landon, does that make you almost feel like a little bit like heard, like you feel seen now hearing that?
Because at the time you do think like, oh
What's
my
happening
God,
to
like,
me?
I'm having postnatal depression. And you start thinking all sorts of things. But a couple of people, when I said it to a few people, did actually say to me, I get the same. And I was like, really?
Okay, yeah, so as normal.
Yeah, that same time. And I'm like, oh my God, so it is a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes sense.
This huge transformation, and yet most research historically has been done on men because of women's menstrual cycle. They're too unpredictable, and then ethically it's difficult to research women who are having babies. And so it's all been done around men's cycles. So they say that you need 8 hours sleep. Actually, we need a lot more. We need at least 10. And it's men who can survive on 6 to 8, not females. We need 10 to 12, especially if we're having a period. So when we're like, oh, we'll get by my 8, actually we're like, we'll get mine 8, and then we have even less when we're having a baby. They say heart attacks have researched differently in men to women, so women tend to are more likely to suffer from that because the signs are different. The research just isn't there. So all of this that's happening is so groundbreaking that finally we're like, we're researching women and pregnancy and there's a name for it and we know what's happening now.
Why do you think that term is so unheard of? Because I feel like being pregnant and like being a mum is like my mastermind, like because it's 24/7, like morning, noon and night I'm a mum. I feel like I'm at like mum university, like I'm studying this. I've never heard this word before. Why do you think that that is the case when it's such a huge part of like becoming a parent?
It's what still dominates the media, and like you just mentioned, having a child in a room separate from you at 6 months. Those old school books are still being passed around. We learn so much from people who've had babies before us, the generation before us would very much cry out. It still exists. And so there's the generations that are teaching us certain mainstream media which wants to influence it, and it's not science led. We now have a blueprint for parenting. We know what works in terms of responsive parenting, keeping them close, they will leave you, ideally being home with them for the first 3 years if you can, but if you can't, that's all right, because you can put your allo parenting in. Who's going to take care of them instead? Can you make up your skin to skin at night and have them close to you if you're not spending much time in the day? There's all these ways around it, but still somehow when you have a baby, the old books come out. It's the sleep methods, it's have a blackout room, get them out by 6 months, and you're like, where's it? How is this still seeping through? I'm still like, how is this still in people's hands? I want to go in all the bookshops and burn them. Like, it's really upsetting when you know what works. In the line of work I do, I see most couples coming to see me in the first 3 years, and it's devastating. A new couple's just joined me this month, and they've been together 10 years, and he said, I don't know what's happened to her. We had the best relationship, we've been together 10 years, and, you know, she's miserable, she doesn't want to do stuff, we're supposed to be going on these big trips, and she's like, I just don't know what's happened to me. And I'm like, oh my God, like he's meant to be the co-regulator. So when you have a baby, your job is to just be focused on the baby, and that's what your brain has been wired to do. You're not worried now about your partner, because that's not your job for a little bit. So your partner's job is to co-regulate you. So when you're losing your mind, he's meant to step in and say, hey, I've got you. Don't worry. What's wrong with you? You seem a bit grouchy, a bit different. Well, my mate at work says he doesn't mind, his missus is all right. Whatever people end up coming out with. So, but if you've got a partner that can come in at the end of the day at 4 or 5 p.m. and not look at you and say, what's wrong with you? But say, hey, let me take the baby, sit down, here's some water, and they speak to you in a slow voice. They get down onto your level and they say, you've got it, don't worry. You go, oh, it's all right. You feel so held. That's your partner regulating you.
Megan, did you experience any of that like identity shift? And always spoke about like pregnancy and like those early months and what that looked like for you. But did you feel like a change in your relationship dynamic when you were kind of like reborn as a mum?
Ollie took over the cooking, actually.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, he made me steak quite a lot.
And do you feel as if that's almost like your love language for how much you love cooking?
Yeah. Because my love language is food.
Yeah.
So I definitely felt like after I had Landon, I batched cooked, actually. And then my sister's a good cook. She come out and helped cook. And then when it was just me and Ollie did do the steaks, and he got better and better as the weeks went on with the steaks. But no, you definitely feel like you're not who you used to be. I feel I'm so different. Like I feel like I've changed as a person. I've not actually asked Ollie, to be honest. Like, I've not asked, like, am I
Very few people do.
different? But I think it's obvious.
Yeah.
Do you know
That's
what I
a
mean?
good question to go home and ask. I'm going to note that as well. I'm going to say, Andy, when I go, I changed.
Yeah, like,
Do you think
am
I'm
I different?
But how?
Yeah.
Or at least admitting that you were aware of it. So
Yeah.
asking them, how have I changed? What have you noticed that's
Yeah.
different in me?
I feel like I'm going back to my old self now. Just the way I feel in general, the way I'm looking, the way I'm dealing with things now. I feel like, I'm back in work mode.
Yes.
I want to work.
When you say old self, do you mean before you had the baby? Okay.
Yeah, because I definitely feel like when I had Landon, I think a lot of it was because I was in another country, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I did feel quite like isolated and on my own with that, even though Ollie was there and, my family were flying out and people were helping at times. But like, for me, I just felt I didn't know what to do.
So you mentioned there about how you feel like you've changed. Have you noticed how if Ollie's changed becoming a dad?
Does the man change that much? I don't know. It's a hard one because Ollie's obviously like going to work every day. He had to go in the day after I had Landon in hospital.
Yeah.
He doesn't get days off.
This is the thing with football. Yeah,
Yeah.
my husband plays football as
Oh,
well.
really?
But how good was this? Our due date was when it was off season.
Oh, wow.
So the timing was incredible. And I mean, I might get him into trouble with these manager they now, but that boy pre-season did not exist for him. I think he did about 2 runs and that was it because we were caring for a baby.
Yeah,
and I
it's
did
so
at the time
hard.
keep thinking it must be so hard. First of all, for couples that don't get paternity, like how does that mum do that? And then because I'm in football world, I kept thinking, Andy, imagine you were going and training the next day. Like that's impossible. And then having games.
Ollie was in the hospital with me that whole night, up all night with Landon, and then he was going into training. I was in hospital. I'd had the C-section.
Oh, if we couldn't do
Obviously,
anything.
Ollie had to be the one to help me go to the toilet, shower. Like he helped me in so many ways. But for him, he's not just Ollie, a man in general. They're like going to work. They get to, even though they're being really busy, they get to shut off. We don't.
It's 24/7.
This is 24/7, and I think people that haven't had babies yet, I didn't know.
Yep.
You don't know.
You can't
You
plan
don't
for
know.
it.
And
do not.
I've said this quite a lot in this podcast and I hate saying that because it sounds so condescending,
Yeah.
but you really don't relate to it until you're in it and nothing prepares you for it.
No.
You can watch all the TikToks, you can read all the books, nothing
Them
prepares you.
TikToks are lies.
Lies. Why are
Because
you lying?
I used to go to Ollie. Oh, do you know what? I can't wait to do them aesthetically pleasing timestamps on TikTok.
Never.
Yeah, right.
How would we have the time?
It's not happening. It's not happening.
It's not happening.
The camera's coming up for when I'm dishing up my dinner, and that is all.
Yeah.
But I don't know how these mums get up and do the gym before they've even fed the baby in the morning. I'm like, I want as much sleep as possible.
Yeah. And so do you think sleep played into that then? Like that sleep deprivation, do you think that affected it?
Yeah, to be honest, Ollie was great with the sleep. Ollie would come in the afternoons and then he would take Landon either for a walk or because Landon was crying all the time because of reflux.
yeah.
This is
That's
the problem.
awful.
Yeah.
So Ollie would go out in the morning and as much as I loved looking after Landon, I used to have the worst anxiety, like what am I going to do if I'm too tired and I'm here on my own? Again, because I can't like have someone just pop in.
Yeah.
So my anxiety also was there. But when he used to come back, I used to be like, you take Landon, let me have a sleep. So I used to go into the bedroom, turn all the lights off, put the white noise machine on, and I used to get about 2 to 3 hours
Oh, well, you could sleep.
every afternoon to have my sleep because I knew I'd be up all
Yeah.
night because
Yeah.
Landon had
Yeah, yeah.
reflux.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was so hard. I literally was crying every day, like down FaceTime to my mum, like, I don't know what to do. Like, he's just crying over nothing through the night. And I was like, is this what it's this is?
Is this it
what my mum was
forever?
like,
Yeah.
this isn't normal.
No,
She said, this
definitely
isn't how it should be. She was like, I wish I could be there.
Yeah.
It was just
Oh,
really
it's
hard.
really difficult, and you probably that wee like newborn phase probably feels as if it robbed a wee bit.
It
But
was hard, yeah.
like you've got such a wee happy baby
I
now. So
know.
for any listeners that like are going through that now
Yeah.
and you are in the trenches, see what they say about it getting easier. It
Yeah.
definitely does.
Oh, it
And I also
does.
think as well, like testament to you for like continuing to go back to the doctors and like trying to get to the root of the issue because that
That's
must have
another
been
thing.
really, really tough.
Mum's always known.
Mum's not best, and so that obviously fed a lot into like your sleep and like sleep deprivation information.
Yeah.
Does that then also then, Jerry, affect baby brain?
When they've done some studies on, say, healthy young males, no children involved, they've just deprived them of sleep. After a certain period of time, at the end of that trial, at the end of the month, they're clinically depressed and they can't function properly. That's just interrupting their sleep. It's not throwing a baby in the mix and all the other changes. So sleep is so important. And we are wired to wake up for our infants. So when a baby, if you're feeding them in the night, if you can breastfeed, so it tends to be easier for night wakings because the baby will go and do a little breath or a sniff and then you're awake and you can latch them, and that can all happen usually within 15 seconds, and so your sleep's not interrupted. But if you're getting up, if your baby's crying, if they're sick, if you're having to stand up, if you're having to get a bottle, you're up, you're awake, and that is what wrecks your sleep, so you're absolutely exhausted the next day.
Yeah, I even think from like a vanity thing, like I'm not getting my beauty sleep, so I look at myself in the morning and I'm like, your eye bags, hell, you've got wrinkles where you never had wrinkles before. But if you've got like physical, like you can see physically the effect of lack of sleep, then of course it's going to affect the brain as well.
Oh, I looked horrendous.
Guys, I feel rough like right now. I'm like,
Really?
someone
Oh my
get
God,
me a makeup
no.
artist. I need a
Lovely.
facelift. I need it all. But it makes so much sense. Like sleep can affect it. It's tough. It is really tough. Megan, I want to welcome you to our confessional booth part of the show. I don't want you to bottle anything up. So has there been any funny or embarrassing stories throughout being a mum that you can think of that you want to confess to now?
When Landon was like a couple of weeks old, we had just got new rugs before we had Landon. God knows why. And I had one of them changing units that change out rather than to the side in the bedroom. And Landon, when I say this poo come out, it shot out all across. And Ollie was there and he was like, oh my God. Oh, I was really laughing, like, that's so funny, just this squirt come out. So Ollie's on the floor doing it, wiping it up, and honestly he done it again. It skimmed his head. And you know, it's just like one of them moments, the carpet had to be rolled up and put out on the balcony. It's like, it's just gone, it's ruined. And I think them moments for me and Ollie were like really like bonding little moments. Like
it brought you closer.
Yeah, like we're throughout this craziness, like I was standing there looking, I was wearing a nappy, like just looking at him laughing, like at little Landon, like oh, it's just so cute.
Landon, you nearly shat on me. Thank you.
Pooed on your dad's head.
Yeah. Your shat has made us bond even more.
Yeah, that is so funny. I actually seen this TikTok video and it's so funny. I'm going to play it to you, and it brings us nicely into our wee group chat approved section, and it's where we talk about like hacks or any funny memes that are like put into our group chats. So I seen this one on TikTok, and it's a TikToker called Poppy Mead, and she took a drink of apple juice and then she went to the sink and she went to wash the glass, and she took the sponge and she went to wash the glass, and then she realised, oh, I've actually got the apple juice carton in my hand and I'm going to wash the apple juice carton.
I had a massive dog bed, like really big blanket, like this big heavy thing. I put it on the roof of the car when the baby was really little. We were going off to the New Forest, and then as we were driving away, I was like, "Whoa, what was that?" I was like, "It's like a Dementor whizzing past the front." That's what I said to my husband, and he was like, "Yeah, but that's really weird. What would it be?" And I was like, "I don't know, but it's exciting." When we get there, I went, "Oh, that was the dog bed."
No way, you didn't realise he was there.
No, because 45-minute car
so
journey, like we're not
tired.
going back.
no.
So I was like, just to clarify, the dog was in the car, not in the dog bed.
He was in his seatbelt. Don't worry. It's only the dog
He
bed that
slept
went
in bed
flying.
with you that night. Yeah,
Oh,
he's not in the
no.
dog bed
He was
anymore.
fine.
Megan, you've shared your mum journey on socials and your pregnancy. I'm just interested to know, how was that received on social media for you? Was that a positive experience or was it quite negative?
Very, very positive until you start being a little bit too real and open, and then you get the mum brigade judging you.
Mm-hmm. And so that, how did that manifest for you? And like, was that in like the comments? You were like sharing what you were feeding Landon, and then all of a sudden you've got 50 nutritionists in your comment section.
Well, to be honest, when I give him steak to suck on, because it's like meant to be good for them, I was like researching it all. It's really, really bad comments about it.
Okay.
And I was just a bit like, obviously like watching him and everything. And I was actually following an app. It's Solid Starts app. I don't know if you know about it. It's really good.
Okay.
Basically telling you like how you should cut the food, what size it should be, what age, blah, blah, blah. So I was literally going by guidelines, and I literally had like hundreds and hundreds of mums saying like how ridiculous it is giving him steak. You know, he's going to choke. How are you going to risk your child choking? And all of that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, I know. It's been so positive though. Everyone loves Landon. I feel like I have hundreds of thousands of aunties, uncles supporting Landon, and everyone has watched Landon from the beginning, literally, because I even had a C-section filmed.
Okay.
So I documented it from start to up until now, to his first birthday. Like everyone's so loving. Mm-hmm. But I noticed at the beginning, when you were saying about the sleep deprived stuff.
Yep.
I was so sleep deprived because of the reflux. It got to a point where in the daytime I'd be sitting with Landon on me and I would literally be like that. I'd be like, oh my God, you know, I can't. It's so dangerous and I don't know what to do. And it got to a point where I thought I actually need to put him down in his crib in the day because this is dangerous for him because I'm going to end up falling asleep. I documented like having a moment of the sleep training thing. I like put him down and then I was like reading things of what to do and kind of like I'd stand at the room and lay him down and people were like, why don't you rock him and put him down? And I said, I have done this. Don't you think I have tried? I've been standing up for hours on end and as soon as I lay him down, he's screaming. It's because of his reflux and it's just all a mess. I need to find a way of getting Landon down to nap on his own and me lay down and nap, or this is just going to end bad because I'm just going to be depressed. And I got so much backlash for doing it, real big backlash about it because...
I mean, it's almost as if like a 1 minute video of your 24-hour day is like this little tiny clip and it's not as if you haven't tried other things.
It really affected me actually because I was really upset because I love Landon so much.
And you were desperate.
I was desperate and I think I did another follow-up video to say, because I was so happy that he went to sleep. And they were like, how can you let him moan in the bed like that? He was crying. And I said, say back to some people, you have no idea what I'm going through here. Like, I can't ring my mum to say, Mum, please, like I said earlier, come over for an hour. Just can you cuddle Landon so he sleeps so I can sleep? I'm on my own. Ollie doesn't get back till late afternoon. Like, I need to do this on my own. So I found a way of doing it and it worked. And Landon started to go down for his naps in the day and I started to have my nap in the day and it worked. But it's crazy how much mum shaming you can get from doing something like that. People were doing videos on it. People were doing TikToks on it, going like, have you seen what Megan's done about sleep training? That's actually so horrible.
But like mum, like being a mum, that's not a one size fits all, and see what might work for you, and like sleep training might not be for you. That might be what works for someone else. And also you were doing it yourself and like we weren't supposed to do it. We weren't supposed to do this ourselves. Like that term, it takes a village, like that goes back to like the caveman days. Like I don't know, maybe we might need to like fact check, site check, reference that, but we were not supposed to do that ourselves. So like you said, you were desperate. That's what worked for you. And I think with social media, the issue that comes into that with comments is you don't know if someone's coming from a genuine place or not because you don't sense like the tone. And when you're in such a vulnerable place, like you said, you were so sleep deprived, like how dare you question how I raised my baby? Like, I love this baby so much.
You chose the safest route. You were falling asleep with him on you.
No, literally.
So the safest thing was to put him down.
Exactly. I had to put him down. And also like I couldn't even go for a shower without, you know, Landon like he was screaming all day. You know, there's only so much. When you have a screaming baby, it even says on the NHS website. You need to put them down, go and have a breather, blah, blah, blah. And I just think, mums shouldn't jump to new mums. It's so horrible. You're already not knowing what to do. Like, just like, how about support? How about like, maybe ask questions in a nice way and support and maybe give some advice. Like, don't be like bashing mums. Like, that's awful.
But it would be interesting from like a psychotherapist perspective then, with mum shame and with guilt and mums, like where does that come from?
You know, there's so many camps of parenting, there's so many different approaches to parenting, and when you have your own style of parenting, to feel aligned, it's like you need to push that upon somebody else, and it's really difficult. So if you're really concrete, you know that you're just happy in your lane and that's what you're doing, sometimes then you just keep quiet about what someone else is doing. But if there's some sort of like unknown or insecurity or uncertainty, you want to know that everyone's doing the same thing. And so there's this pushing of, this is right, this is what you should be doing, this is what I did, this is what I've learned, and we all need to be the same. But we are so different. Yes, we grow the baby and then it comes out, we adopt it, but whatever we do, there's only certain things that we can compare culturally, our history, who we are, our birth. If there was one, like, okay, this is how to parent and do it, we would do it. But there's too many variables, like your experience. You had reflux, you had a C-section, you were in another country, you had a husband who couldn't stay home. So that all these variables, they can't be compared to somebody else's experience. They were so unique to you, and you had to do what you had to do.
And even for, this came from like social media and you having a big following, but even for mums that are just experiencing this day to day, like they might not be on social media and they might be experiencing mum shame maybe from like an in-law or just maybe like another like passing comment. Is there any like good tips like how we can manage that?
So I've just done a bit of research for my doctorate, and I had over 100 women, and most of them that have struggled is because of the opinions of others. There's this sense of, and these are women who have maybe chosen to do responsive parenting in a way. They might breastfeed till the child's a bit older or bed share, and so they receive their own criticism of you. It's unsafe, or it's weird that you're still feeding your kid, or that you've got to create independence, and so they really struggle with this conflict. But the more well read you are in the approach that you've chosen, like you've said you are with your eating, the more informed you are, the more confident you will feel. So, and then from that confidence, you build your skill set, and then it's a snowball effect. It's when there's a bit of uncertainty that we can get a bit derailed. So if you've chosen something and it works for you, just really learn as much as you can about it. So then you feel confident. And if it comes to it, say, I've chosen something different to you. You don't need to defend it. Don't waste your time defending and justifying your approach. Just be curious about theirs.
Yeah.
Redirect
what works
it
for
away.
your family is great, and I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
This is what works for me. It's like going back to what I says. It's just not a one size fits all.
If you find yourself justifying it and defending it, you're on a slippery slope to nowhere, because all they're doing is trying to wait for you to show a crack so then they can convince you. So don't bother doing it.
Have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
That you're doing great.
Stay in your lane and just do what
That's
works.
so true, because I still breastfeed Landon.
Yeah, good for you.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And by the way, what an achievement. Well done, by the way, because that's
you.
hard. That is
so
tough.
hard.
And then it gets easier, right? And then
So
it's good for the
easy.
plane and illness. Yeah.
That is exactly why I continued it. With the travel up and down all the time with these ears.
Yeah.
Stick him on the boob on the plane.
That's a good travel tip. Feed on takeoff and on landing.
Yeah,
For the
that's
ears
it.
pops.
It's the perfect travel tip. I have noticed, like, sometimes when I mention it, like, oh, I'm still breastfeeding, like, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to be one of them mums that breastfeeds, blah, blah, blah. And I just think, do you know what? I'm actually so proud that I breastfeed him.
It's amazing.
Like, and he's only one.
Yeah.
But also, I was so intrigued about how, if they're not well, it goes into you.
That's it.
It makes something for them and
Antibiotic.
gives it back to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Why
So
would I not
clever.
be breastfeeding my 1-year-old right now?
Yeah.
It's not going to stop right now.
Even with like the weaning journey as well, 'cause I'm kind of coming up to this.
Oh,
Still a wee bit to go. Yeah, it's like their wee gut lining is still really, it's not matured yet, and so breastfeeding helps with like their probiotics and helps them like break down the food. And then also like, see if you want to breastfeed and like at the beginning you maybe thought you weren't going to do it that long, but now you still are. Like fair enough. I think just go with the flow a little bit with it. And I think, like I said, what an achievement.
The longer you breastfeed, the more vitamins there are.
Exactly.
Because I remember one nurse saying to me, why are you still feeding after 6 months? There's no point. Imagine if I just felt shamed and then stopped because of that. But actually, the longer you feed, the more protected their immune system is. They will naturally also start to leave you. My eldest was probably done by 2.5. My son was hanging around still till 3.5.
I feel like you can't win as a woman though anyway, because you get shamed for breastfeeding if it's past 6 months, like you say. You get shamed for choosing to not breastfeed.
I know.
That's the point,
and
right?
some people that might not breastfeed either they never wanted to do it or their body physically couldn't do it, and then that's
Yeah.
a whole other host
Yeah.
because then you feel guilty and like your
Yeah.
body's failed you. I think just main takeaway here is, let's not put any shame on mums. We're all doing our best and we've actually figured out what works for your lifestyle and your baby.
Yeah.
Going back to baby brain, Jerry, how long can I claim that what I'm doing is because of baby brain? Like, can my baby be 16 and I do something silly and I'm like, baby brain? Is there a time scale on it?
Well, I mean, as I have established, it doesn't exist in the same way that we've learned.
Yeah.
So, but once your sleep resumes and you do get like you're feeling, you said something earlier that you're coming out of something and you want to get back to work. So in the early days, we're really fighting for that maternal self and the professional self. But you're coming into it now because you're getting over that year mark. Things are going to start to settle. So it's not like you just go, oh, they're 3 and I feel good. It is a progression. And the first year is the hardest. And then once you tip over that, it starts to get easier and easier. By 3, because their immune systems are developed in a certain way when they're 3 and their cognition is online and they're ready to leave you and want to do stuff on their own and they get a bit more independent, something settles in you even more. So by 3, you're really settled.
But then you have another one and then it's all back to square
And
one.
then you do it again because you go, I feel all right. And that's
You-
exactly what
a picture,
happens.
like, oh, flash up on your phone and they're tiny and you're like, I have to experience that again. They were so small.
Yep.
Oh, God.
It's exactly what happens because you get that, oh, it was all right though.
Literally. Does the physical changes in the brain ever go back to normal? Wow.
So when they've scanned women who've had a baby, they've seen the changes 2 years postpartum and 6 years postpartum, just because of the ethics around studies and trying to keep hold of these women who've had children. They haven't got enough research, which is why it's still in its infancy. But what they have also seen when they've been scanning women around the ages of 70 and 80, years old, they've seen evidence that they were a mother, which I love. Imagine, so they were scanning these women in their 70s and 80s, and there was evidence in the MRI scan that it showed signs that they had been a mum.
That's amazing.
That's so interesting.
And you know, like when you carry your children, parts of their DNA stay in you.
I know.
So you've got male DNA in you. Something like it's like this. You keep hold of it. So this is a permanent change.
Yeah.
There's always that evidence. They stay with you. So matrescence is a forever thing. And just as you're going through different seasons of it, they go to school. You go through a different form of matrescence. When they leave home, they leave in the nest. Now you're a parent, but you're not parenting and they're not in the home anymore. So there's all these different seasons of matrescence that you keep going through.
So we've reached the end of our chat now, Megan, and this is actually one of my favourite parts of the whole show, is we ask if you could bottle up any moment of your mumhood so far. What's been your favourite moment, or one of?
Oh my God, there's so many. Okay, my favourite moment was probably the first time I heard Landon laugh. Yeah, it was really early in the morning, and he was sitting on this. I'd had him propped up on the sofa, and I was in front of him, and I'd done something, and he just come out with this little giggle. I was like, oh my God, where's the phone? Do it again. I just don't do it again. That was probably one of my favourites.
Yeah. Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, well, thank you so much for that chat. It was so nice. Considering that we're all mums, like, I actually think that was a very informative chat for Baby Brain. So go us. Megan, where can our listeners find you? And also, you've got a cookbook, so where can we get that?
You can get the cookbook in everywhere, in all the shops. Online as well, Amazon, and you can find me and my cooking on my Instagram and my TikTok.
Megan McKenna. I need to admit, like, you are a lot in my evenings and my cooking.
Really,
your recipes are excellent.
You need to go back then to my weaning videos.
Okay, perfect.
Because I'm really good at them.
Okay, present. There we go.
He's a pro now.
That's
he eats
sorted.
everything and anything.
Oh yeah, I've seen him eat that tomahawk. I know he's really good. And also, Jerry, thank you so much for the education. Where can our viewers and listeners find you?
Yeah, on Instagram, Therapy Project. So I haven't been on there for a while because I've been doing my research, but I'm heading back there now. So I'll start putting the tips back out.
Great. No, I feel as if I've had a free therapy session just now. So thank you. That was great, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the last episode of the first series of Parents, You've Got This, We've Got You. We're going to miss you, and if you miss us, why not go back and listen to your favourite episodes? You can find Tommee Tippee on all the socials. Just click the links in the description below and visit Tommee Tippee's website. There's loads of advice for new parents and amazing products to get you through your parenting journey. And just for podcast listeners, you can get 15% off at TommeeTippee.com using code You've Got This 15. And remember, you've got this and we've got you.